you know, you read a lot of things about like people on their deathbeds and stuff, and it's like no one ever talks about the amount of money they made, right? It's about the experience they had, the time they spent with their families. Like, that's the one thing you cannot put a price tag on. I tell everybody this, like, you cannot put a price tag on your time.
Good concentration equals good shooting. Good shooting does not equal good concentration.
You have to play to your strengths and to your given, what you've been given.
You can't try to be something you're not. Jim Braddock was the boxer's name. Anyways, but he made this marvelous comeback and was beating everybody, and he was winning, you know. And I freaking sobbed, man, just because I love that victory,
right?
You know,
Rudy.
Yeah, exactly. You know, I guess everybody likes that.
On this episode of Gritty Bowmen, we travel to Utah and hang out with Zac and Rocky Griffith, also known as RocZac. RocZac.
Welcome to my home. I got you. I know the rules. This is Rocky.
Hey, Rocky.
This is Brian.
Good.
Bowman.
Zac is a bona fide mule deer fanatic. Rocky is his wife. And yes, Rocky is her real name. You will soon learn from this podcast that Rocky is just as passionate about hunting as her husband, Zac.
Nice to meet you. Look at us watching Meat Eater. Nice. She found it on her own on Netflix. It's on Netflix now.
I know. I announced it last week. It's like
She loves him.
I'm addicted to it.
Me too.
Have you seen this episode?
They're peas in a pod. It was immediately apparent to me that Rocky doesn't hunt just to please Zac. She has a genuine passion for it. For all you muley-freaks, I have included some video of Zac and Rocky's beautiful deer mounts, which they have on display in a half-finished trophy room in their home. You can see their display room in the video version of this podcast at grittybowmen.com. These mounts are beautiful. I look forward to seeing the room when it's totally finished. This is the second podcast I've done with Zac. If you missed Zac's earlier podcast, you should go check it out. It's episode 157. On this podcast, we talk about Rocky and her giant mule deer she harvested this year. While Zac's first passion is mule deer hunting, it seems that Rocky is quickly falling in love with the hunting of the gray ghost, also known as Coues deer. Rocky shares her experience hunting Coues deer and why she likes it so much. This is just a fun podcast with two great people who love to hunt. I'm happy for them. It was a pleasure meeting Rocky, and I wish them both continued happiness and success. Without further ado, meet RocZac. But how do you feel about giving up your times, Zac, behind the bow?
It's not at all like, you know, like
once you did it, you realized
the deer she killed a buck. It's my buck too. Like, he's gonna go.
No, it's not.
I'm gonna be able to stare at him whenever I want. She made it worse. She made it worse because when you're by yourself, you're not worried about like someone seeing you.
Yeah.
Like not being able to clip your release on your freaking string. But when your wife sees that you're not clipping your release on your string, and she looks at you and she goes,
"And I'll let him know.
What is your problem? Are you kidding me? Do you need me to clip your release?"
All right, folks, welcome to the Gritty Bowmen podcast. I am in where is this? Harriman, Utah. Yep, with Zac and Rocky Griffith, and been looking forward to this for quite a while. I mean, we've been talking about getting Zac back on the podcast. We hit the gym the other day. That was really fun. Mostly I talked while Zac worked out. Yeah. But I did some Zac's routine and got on the machines, and it was really, really cool to pick his brain on how he likes to get fit and stuff. But I have been following you guys for a long time. Like, just really enjoy, Zac, your posts are positive, and you've always got really great artistic pictures, and they have that Zac Griffith style, that signature, right? Like,
oh yeah.
She can't stand it. She thinks I zoom
Some
too
of
much.
them, I'm like, no, it's too much.
I'm all about drama, just too close, too far, too bright,
saturated,
contrast.
And then Rocky, you know, you and Zac together, I've been able to follow you and see your hunts and everything that you're doing with Zac. So I really wanted to get you on the podcast. Whenever I can get the wife on with the guy, it's always like a lot more insightful. Mm-hmm. So I thought that would be cool. So Zac, before we get started, just for people who are listening to this for the first time and don't really know much about you, just tell me a little bit about you.
I'm just an avid bow hunter, fitness nut. I make films when I actually kill stuff. Mm-hmm. And that's my little social media brand. It's all about like training for hunting and just pushing yourself, because you got 9 months of the year to prepare and 3 months to take advantage of it. So,
and we did a fun podcast at the Total Archery Challenge together, and I'm looking through it here on my phone. So folks can go back if they don't know Zac or they haven't heard the earlier one. It's episode 157 on the Gritty Bowmen. You can go and hear that earlier podcast and get to know more about you. But today it's kind of more about Rocky.
Yeah, sure.
And so Rocky, tell me a little bit about you.
So I grew up in West Valley, City, Utah. I actually kind of grew up around Zac. He was best friends with my oldest brother, Jared.
Really?
Yeah, so it's kind of crazy. We used to go to Lake Powell together, hang out, swim. They would try and ditch me, and I'd be in the back, like, following them. Zac was just
That's awesome.
Zac was just like a fat, annoying kid. So I had no interest in him back then.
Yeah, right. I was a foot taller than her. She loved me.
Yeah, whatever.
So, no, what I want to is the fat thing real?
Yeah, it's real.
I was just a little Eskimo-looking kid.
If you actually go look
just
at our intro to our RocZac,
really tan.
You can get a clip of the actual Lake Powell scene that
Wow.
we recorded. And, yeah, he's packing on some LBs. So so I don't think, I wasn't too interested in him back then. But yeah, we kind of, growing up, we didn't talk for about 20 years, but then we just reconnected.
I know, it's just a small thing.
Wow.
It really was 20 years.
Yeah, and who would have ever thought? But yeah. So and then hunting, I actually have always been into hunting, but rifle hunting. I've never had the opportunity or a chance to get into archery. So when I first met Zac, he was all about it. So he's like, "Let's get you set up with a bow. Let's get you going. You'll love it." Got my bow, started to shoot, and I was hooked. So he's the one that introduced me to archery. And
Really?
I still rifle hunt, obviously, but yeah, just bow hunting. It's a whole new level of hunting for me. But
So Zac, how do you find Rocky? Like reconnect?
Well, first of all, her name, it's kind of unique, obviously, and her name is Rocky. When I saw her name on Facebook as a friend suggestion, I was just like, I remember her. But I don't remember that Rocky. I remember freckles, pigtails, annoying. It was just funny. I didn't recognize her at all.
Right.
It had been that long. So,
Yeah.
when you're talking 10 years old, everything's just, I don't remember. So,
Totally.
her profile picture, she had a jackrabbit. She'd thrown it in the air. So it's kind of funny. I'm going to send you a snapshot so you can put it on the video.
Nice.
It's really funny. And I saw that picture, and I was recently divorced, and I'm like, this chick is awesome. I need to meet
Love
her.
at first sight.
Yeah, so I came up here and I just hit her up and said I'd love to catch up with you and your brothers, because that was the initial.
Yeah, right.
Her brother and I played baseball together and played a lot, so we all went to dinner together, and then I did a follow-up date, and I was living in Phoenix, so it was just kind of tricky that way. But yeah, I met her and I was blown away really quickly. I think she took a little longer to persuade, but the goal was clear, the tractor beams narrowed in. I was on board.
So once you did that, and you obviously had been hunting before you met Zac.
Mm-hmm.
So Zac, did you know that
she had been hunting? Yeah, she said she had, but I didn't think she knew what she was doing. I didn't think she'd had any idea, like what I said when I said I'm into hunting. I don't think she had any clue what that means, because hunting is very ambiguous. I'm a hunter. Okay, what kind of bow do you shoot?
I go hunting every
your own arrows?
day before Thanksgiving.
Yeah,
every year.
Exactly.
Right.
So
then there's the guy
in our
is
first
like
podcast. That was me for my whole life.
Yeah.
Friday night before the opener, we go to Walmart, grab an orange vest, and then we sleep in the truck, hunt in the morning, get tired, and come out, be sore. That was a good season. Well, that's obviously changed a lot. So yeah, I knew. She said she'd gone. She'd bought her own rifle. She bought an awesome little Savage 1100 with the AccuTrigger on it. I was just like, dude, nice choice. But she never killed anything. She'd never seen anything killed.
Yeah.
And I'm like, big tough guy, I'm going to take you for the ride of your life. And then consequently, I had the worst season of my life while she followed me around. And I literally said, this is the worst year ever. She has no idea. People that didn't know me before last year, thought that was the normal Zac. Usually I get one or two good things with a bow, and then I supplement the rest with just long range carnage, because rifles they kill. That's just how it is. Yeah. The bow, it's 100 days, maybe get one animal. Yeah. But I'm also trying to kill trophies, so that's okay. But for her, she doesn't get that trophy mentality. She doesn't get that eye on the prize. To me, to hike up and see the buck, I just want him that day. I don't need to kill him every day. And we've talked about that. I'm fulfilled in every aspect of hunting, and the kill itself is so tertiary. It's so side. It's not even it's a goal, but it's not the reward. You know what I mean?
Yeah.
In fact, the short hunts, like my Wyoming buck last year, we literally showed up, scouted for 1 day, hunted for 2 days, killed, went home. I was like, I have no sentimental connection to that deer. I don't even remember. I could never get back to where we killed him. I don't even remember which roads we took. I'd have to take a map out. Yeah. Whereas the deer that I hunt and have a chase with her, I know him by name. And I honestly believe the deer recognize me. That's that guy, Well, not he never kills us, so they're probably like, yeah, he's fine. That's that bozo with the colored bow. He ain't doing nothing. So, yeah, she learned, the hard knocks of public land, bow hunting at its worst.
So, Rocky, were you a little worried about this whole thing, or were you guns blazing, let's do this?
Yeah, I was all for it. I mean, just hunting, with my brother, he's a taxidermist, so being in our family, hunting is pretty big, but like Zac was saying, there's hunting and then there's hardcore hunting, and I had no idea, Zac takes it to the next level. So for me, it was show up a day before the opener, do a little bit of scouting, you know. But with him, it's you're scouting 4 months into it. It's
4
crazy.
months
before and then there's
the
sheds.
opening day.
And then
It
there's
never stops.
sheds,
There's
and
always
it just
something
never
to do.
stops.
Coyotes or sheds or.
So for me, I actually loved it because I just love getting outdoors.
Yeah.
I just love the whole experience, and it's just I loved it. So
she's a tough chick too, dude. And I'm not just kissing her butt because we're in front of the camera. The girl she's gritty, dude. She's gritty. She's tenacious. She's stubborn.
We're both stubborn,
proud.
so we kind of butt heads in that area.
Subconsciously, we race up the
You
hill.
can feel it right now.
Oh, yeah.
There is, you're not going to get walked on.
No. We're so our type A's clash, and it's so funny.
His
We fight over the silliest stuff. Just like two dudes.
Yeah, his dad has obviously a rifle hunt and stuff, so he's going up this weekend and went up yesterday, and my brother has a tag too, so I was like, hey, you take your dad hunting, I'm going to take my brother hunting, I'm going to get him a buck. And he did not like that at all. Oh, what? You know where you're going, you know what you're doing?
Okay,
totally
guy.
threw me under the bus. He's like, okay, good luck. We get in little arguments, what's more healthier, brown rice, white rice, but he just...
Where's your flowers? I fixed it, right? They're upstairs. I bought her flowers.
When it comes to hunting and stuff, he's taught me a lot, but now I know what I'm doing. I'm ready to get out there and go do it myself. But he doesn't like that at all. So he didn't like that. So I ended up not going with my brother.
A little competition.
Yeah.
Healthy competition.
Yeah. So, Rocky, when you got a bow, tell me about that.
What was my first bow? It was a Hoyt Charger.
That's a good first bow.
Yeah.
Really good.
No, I loved it. I don't know. Like you said, it's completely different than rifle hunting, but I haven't shot anything with my bow yet. But as far as, practicing shooting, I love bow hunting. And I think when I do actually kill something, I think that will just be my go-to. A gun, it's not a guarantee kill, but I feel like with a gun, obviously your chances are a lot higher.
Oh, yeah.
But I feel like with a bow, once I actually, hopefully I draw a tag this coming year, next year.
Yeah.
But yeah, I just feel like with all the hard work you put into it and your patience and persistent, when you actually kill something with a bow, I think it means a lot more. I do. You work harder for it.
I've got a rifle hunt here in a couple weeks, and it's the first rifle hunt I've been on in quite a long time.
Here in Utah?
It's Colorado.
Oh, okay.
And it's mostly been bow, for a long time. But I'm really excited to get the rifle out and do a rifle hunt because rifle hunts are just fun.
They are.
There's another level of just pure enjoyment that comes from it. And now the animal that I would normally shoot with a bow and be super thrilled with, which is just about anything.
Really.
No.
I feel a lot differently about
You're more selective.
a rifle, where that's also another level of fun, right? Because now I'm more selective. The 4x4, 150-inch buck that I would normally be just flipping backflips over with my bow, I'm like, now I'm going to pass up tons of those looking for something bigger that adds an element of fun and excitement to the hunt that I'm really looking forward to.
Sure.
So
And that's why I like to mix it up.
Yeah.
It's a balance. It's like I supplement my bow hunting failures because bow hunting sucks with easy rifle hunts in between, and that's how you get through it.
Yep. So Rocky, when did you kill your first animal?
It was muzzleloader this year.
Okay.
And that was my
22 days ago.
22 days ago. Dang.
Biggest deer I've ever seen in my life.
So 22 days ago, it's on Instagram. People can go and see this deer. I saw this deer, blew my mind. They can go on there and look you up. And you are, let me see, Rocky Griffith.
Underscore.
Rocky _ Griffith. ROCY _ Griffith. And so you wrote a really cool thing too about this buck, and people can go and look it up and read it. I won't do it here, but so tell me about that hunt. Like, first of all, that's a mighty fine first deer. I mean, come on, it's just spoiled.
The bar is really
It's like you can
high.
only go down from
I
here.
know. You hear that song, I started from the bottom, now I hear, but
It's the other way around.
it's the other way around. Like,
How did you get this deer? Because that's a special animal. That's not something that anybody just comes by any time of the day. It wasn't an accident, right?
no. Well, it all happened because of my father-in-law. He glassed it up, and
This is your dad, Zach.
Yeah, this is his dad, Larry. He killed a huge Henry's buck, and he always says it has to be over 200. And so when he spotted this muley, he called me up. He sent me footage of him, and I said I want him. And I was already set on a pretty nice 3x4 that was kind of buddies with Zach's muley that he killed. And I had his pattern figured out, and we actually had a game plan of where we were going to sleep up on the mountain and stuff and go after that particular buck. But as soon as I got footage...
Zach, are you just geeking out over this game plan? And
Oh, yeah.
Nick,
You do realize, people think, oh, your wife, she's taking your time off. No, this is like my tag, too. I don't pull the trigger, but I'm all involved. We're scheming together, collaborating. It's so fun. I'm liking her tags more than mine.
We're getting out paper. We're on Google Earth. We get into it.
We had her buck. I mean, I think we would have killed him the first day because they're in a backcountry basin. They're untouched and they're very patternable. And we can locate them. I mean, if they're not here, they're there, and then kill them there. And we've hunted it my whole life. So her 3x4 was dead, but this one my dad just turned up out of the blue in an area we don't normally focus on. And he just called me. He says, "You're not going to believe the deer I found down here." And I said, "There's no way." And he sent us pictures of it. And
I told him, I said, "Are you sure you want to pass on it?"
He didn't even blink.
You got first dibs. He's like, "No, I'd love for you to take him down." So after that, we went up and scouted a couple times. I think we found him once, right? One time, and then that was it. We didn't find him. I think.
So you put your own eyes on him once.
I filmed, got a ton of footage.
Yeah, once.
From about 800 yards, I went in a complete other rim to get just a big back angle on the mountain with the sun behind my back, and I knew if he's anywhere on that basin, I'd see him, and we picked him up. And
what were your scouting dates, roughly?
So this was a week before the opener.
This was Saturday, Sunday, Monday before the Wednesday opener.
And that was...
My dad saw him on a Saturday. We went in and saw him on a Sunday. We went in on Monday, didn't see him. Tuesday we took off. Wednesday morning we hunted. First day.
So that was October.
No, end of September. So I believe the 28th. She killed him on the 2nd.
No, the first.
First.
Okay.
23 days ago.
23 days,
Okay.
yeah. So yeah, opener, nowhere to be found. Hunted day or the morning and night. Got back up there Thursday morning, still didn't see him. By then, I'm thinking, great, you know, do we keep focusing on this particular buck? And I just had great vibes. Let's keep going after him. And we had a good attitude hunting him that night.
It's a monster.
Couldn't find him.
It's that big too. That's the worst part. It's not even one of my Zac Griffith specials with long arming. She's like right in tight. That deer's that big. He's 30-inch mainframe. He's a tank, dude.
Yeah, and then Friday still nothing. So Saturday morning, actually Friday night, we made another game plan. Well, we were going to go back to our game plan with the 3x4, and, you know, if we didn't see him Saturday morning or night, then we'd give him until Sunday morning and then go back to our backup plan. But, yeah, we ended up that morning, we didn't see much. We were, you know, getting ready to leave. Zac spotted him, actually. He walked right over a ridge.
Mm-hmm.
And so we got...
And I posted all of this. And
What'd
she
you
was
think
like, stop. She's like, what are you doing? I'm like, I got to post this. People will not believe it. And she's just like, no, we got to go. No, she didn't get it. Like, baby, I'm going to drag these guys along.
I knew
they need
he
to know.
was going to bed. But...
I said, we're going to kill him. He's dead. If he went over there, I know where he's bedding. He is toast. And I mean, give me 2 seconds so I'm Instagramming. This is happening. This is happening.
And I'm like,
she's
just ready to kill him.
She's in mode.
Like,
She's in kill mode. She's a dude. No offense. She's a dude. Cold-blooded.
Let's do this.
She's all over it. So I'm slowing her down. So
yeah, we get over there, the ridge, and he's bedded down and get set up, take my first shot, ended up being low. And Zac's freaking out. I'm like, calm down. Like, I was freaking out when he shot his because I was getting mad.
I wish they could be a fly.
He was taking
drama,
long shooting his. And I'm like, dude, just shoot him. He's broadside. He's asking for it. Like, he's shaking his butt. Just shoot him. You know, just freaking out. But now I understand. But anyways, so it's the same situation. But, yeah, he was freaking out. I'm like, Zac, just calm down, you know.
So this is after you shot low.
Well, it's a muzzleloader, so I got to reload the piece of crap. I hate muzzleloaders. They suck. I'm literally just jamming, putting in the.
What did this buck do when you missed?
He took about 3 steps and then just stood and looked at us. Just stayed.
Did he see you?
He was a sacrificial lamb, man. He was meant to die that day. I don't know why he stood there, but he stood there long enough for me to fumble through it.
Well, long enough. Here's another story people don't really know, but. So Zac had the bipod set up, and I just was not comfortable. I said, nope, I'm not comfortable. So I ripped my pants off. I had another pair underneath, but I ripped my boots off. Zac's shaking his head like, what are you doing?
Get naked on the mountain.
I thought he was going to punch me. He was so mad at me. So I ripped off my first layer of pants. I rolled them up, got it all set up on a rock with my bipod, and freaking smoked it. I'm like, see? But he was freaking out.
You just got to take a chill pill, dude.
But
she's got this.
I had to be, you know, I knew I was limited on time, but I had to be comfortable, and I knew the second shot had to hit.
I don't think she knew how big he was. When I saw him at 186 yards or something, I was just like, oh my gosh, that's the biggest deer I've ever seen up here ever.
So she's taking her time, but she is going to make sure she's not.
She's a laser, dude. She shoots so well, it's silly.
Well,
the first shot, I think the gun was off. I know her. I know the way she shoots, and it's a muzzleloader, so they're not always reliable.
Well, it had been loaded for 3 or 4 days.
3 days we left the charge in there.
And
his second shot, she's just center punched him.
And so tell me this too. So after you hit it, how did you feel, Zac? Is it like?
He got emotional.
Oh, I tore it.
Tell me, Rocky. Tell me.
He's trying to act all tough and, yeah, we got this. But he was like, baby, you just shot a big mule. He got a little teary-eyed.
I love it, dude.
There might have been about 15 expletives before that after the fist pumping. I think I was more exhausted from my...
And you have that personality where you're just loud and proud in your face.
He was freaking out after, but
dude,
first part he's a little emotional.
I'm ashamed of myself as a film guy. I didn't film this at all. First of all, muzzleloader, the muzzle smoke sucks, messes up shots. Yeah. I was too stressed out. I'm like, I can't film this and help her. But she hit him back in the ribs and just pulled a cork. I mean, it was just blood, and he rolled. It was so epic. I mean, he died instantly, and I went crazy. It was just so, because it was so tense, and then he might as well just broke his back. He just dead. And it was just crazy. I'm like looking at him there. I'm like,
when that happens, it's such a relief.
Oh, yeah, that's what I mean.
You're trying so hard to accomplish this really difficult. Like, if you haven't done it, it sounds, I don't know. I mean, people don't understand it who
pearls before swine, man.
Yeah, when you go out there and you actually kill an animal like that you've really worked your whole life to go after and stuff, and then to accomplish it, and then there's such a moment of relief. When Aaron shot that big buck with his recurve, it was just like the hours he spent shooting all year, switching to that recurve, and then the struggles and all the failures and the close calls, and then when you go and you make that shot, and if you made that shot on a nice little 4x4 or something, you'd be happy. But there's something special about making it on this sort of once in a lifetime or dream type animal. And I often wonder, like, why do we care so much about that? Like, is it because we want the adoration of others? Because if you shoot an animal like that, you get all this attention, or is it because you just find antlers fascinating and the animal amazing, or is it a mix? Like, what is it, right? Because sometimes I think, why should I be more excited about shooting a 400-inch bull elk than I am about shooting a 320 bull elk? Why shouldn't I be excited about both and equally pleased? But the antler size does play a role. Oh yeah. And I'm still trying to put a finger on it, but being me, I want to say it has nothing to do with what anyone else thinks about it. It's sort of like, I don't care what anyone thinks about me shooting a blacktail. Like, we're going to get into your coos deer. When someone shoots a coos deer, people who don't know coos deer don't care.
No,
if it's a booner, they're like, oh, nice little
110,
little baby buck, you know. Yet, and so I don't hunt big blacktails for the adoration of others. They don't give it to me. I hunt big blacktails because of personal satisfaction. And so I think for me, a lot of it just really is personal satisfaction, but it can be interpreted the completely wrong way.
Sure.
So anyway, that was my tangent. So then you shot this buck. You're in tears, or no, mildly emotional. And then what do you think, Rocky?
Honestly, I just sat, like, Zac went down to get our packs and stuff, and I just sat there and just soaking it all in,
Well, I gave her a camera. I said, shoot a selfie and give me some tell me everything on your mind right now. We'll look at it later. So I said, just do this. I left her alone, and she shot some of the best video ever of just her excitement, and she caught that emotion really well.
And I think that's real, that's why I try to podcast or video some stuff in the heat of the moment, because you can't recreate that emotion later. And it's a different emotion, too. Like, we might recap the story of how it happened, or I might do some voiceover for a film. And it perfectly and concisely says what I feel. But it's like, we talked about this last night on a podcast. It's like reflective emotion, which is different than the heat of the moment emotion. And sometimes when I watch my heat of the moment emotion, I'm like, I'm not sharing this with anybody. I look like an idiot.
Nope. A whole different level. No filter at all.
Yeah.
No, and I knew that would happen. That's why I just said, take this camera and just start talking to it. Some of my favorite footage of my hunts, and I'm not a narcissist. It has nothing to do with it. I like to relive that.
Me too.
That blip of emotion that's tough to replicate, and it's always right after a shot. And I love to just say, guys, I just missed that buck. This is what happened. It's crazy, And I love to see it because I can remember. Oh yeah, I was so smashed. And so I knew it was that's on our little YouTube channel, that whole hunt, and that little monologue is on there, so it's pretty cool.
I'll point people to that YouTube video. I definitely I love to see. I want to go and live vicariously through other people, especially people I enjoy following. I want to see the hunt. I want to go with them. And with Instagram and social media today, I have a few people that are like, put the phone down and go hunt,
Yeah.
And for me, and I can understand that. but at the same time, I'm like, I really appreciate it when people share with me.
Take the time to post.
Take the time to post it. I'm just like, what's their update? What's the Jordan Harbertson, when him and Matt Davis and stuff are up there in hunting elk, and they have like, I don't know, like 500 head like run across this opening, and they film the whole thing. I'm like, holy crud! And they're like, oh my gosh, did you see all those elk? And it's like day one of their hunt, right? So they're just super excited. I want to be there. I didn't get to be there myself, but I get to be there sort of, and I want to go along. And so I often follow people's posts, their Instagram stories or Snapchat, whatever, because I want to kind of get the day-to-day or hour-by-hour updates. So Aaron and I started doing that this year, and it didn't take away from the hunt. It added to the hunt. It doesn't take that
long to post either.
And then when we did hunts where we don't have internet service, so we couldn't post, we had a blast then too. We captured footage differently, and we shared the story in a different way. But both of them were equally valuable and rewarding part of the whole experience. I think it influences people. Like, you guys sharing your experience might spark another couple to go out and do this now. Like, someone sees you, Rocky, and goes, you know what? Look at her. And she's out with her husband, and they're having a good time. I kind of want to go out with my husband, or vice versa.
I hope so. Everyone should try it.
And if that happens, it's like you just opened the door, inspired someone. That doesn't, to go out and do this, and that does not happen if you don't share it.
Exactly. Yeah. And it's always fun to go look back on it, and like just eventually if we have kids down the road, like just to show them. And
that's what film's so cool. It's it's timeless. It's there forever. They can see mom's first buck on film. It's pretty cool.
So after you shoot that buck and you do your discussion on there, when I saw the post on Instagram, and correct me if I'm wrong, but earlier as I'm following along with this hunt, there's something about she just passed up on a buck,
3x4
that you could have shot. And
a great deer.
You'd be like lucky to have.
I posted the video, and it's like I'm scratching my head. My wife, because I'm across the canyon again, she would set up to kill, and I was a mile away glassing the hole, getting the stadium view. So I'm watching this buck, and I call him like, there's a great deer coming right to you, and he's just a butterball, just a big fat. It looked like an Alberta buck, just giant, big, heavy 3x4. And I watch her range him, and I'm like, any second now. She goes, no, I still got 5 days. Over. I'm like, okay, I'm posting this. And literally, she's like 20 minutes later, we're leaving, and she finds her buck and kills him. I'm like, this chick has no idea how everything, the stars are just aligning. It's
well,
so
and that's
cool.
just it too. Is that's also what happens later. Is we get to see as we go along on this that you passed that deer, and then we're rewarded with something like
even better.
And that takes a certain personality, a certain
stubbornness,
a certain deer too. I mean,
Yeah.
when you have a buck like that, I'm glad she did, because I'll be honest with you, I would have held out for the bigger buck for sure. But I'm thinking,
but being my first, like
first
a lot
buck,
of people,
it's a 160, 150 class deer. That's a still slammer with the muzzleloader. But she just wanted, we made our plan, and I know she wanted.
I was
her
just going to
buck.
stick to the plan. I had my backup plan, and he was bigger than that 3x4 I passed up on. So I knew, I've come this far. I put in so much effort to get this deer that I'm after, and
you still have time.
Yeah, I have 5 days. Like
Aaron's like,
I had a good feeling, and
I started out on the Alberta hunt, with a 170 goal, or bust 160. He's like, and then as the week progressed, he's like, I'm ready for a coos, man. I am.
I'll take a 4.
I'll take anything at this, and. It's funny, like, I'm the same way. I'd love to shoot a big buck, and I might even pass a few. But as the hunt goes on, I also really enjoy coming home with, a freezer full of meat and an experience that includes the harvesting of a deer. So it's hard for me to, like, pass something up toward the end of the hunt.
Sure. Oh, yeah, for sure, yeah.
She was right in the middle, right in the belly of the beast, so... I mean, I could see how she could hold out, but it was tough for me to. not say anything. It was her call, though. It's her tag.
Was he bigger than you expected or small? Was there ground shrinkage?
He was a lot bigger than I expected. And I honestly think it's because the body on this deer was just huge. I mean,
it's 26-inch ears. So anyone that knows muleys, 22, 20 inches. I mean, so he's 26 on his ears. He's just
how old do you think the buck is?
He's not an old deer, man. He's only 3 or 4.
No way.
He's a stag.
No way.
And his really small testicles, and his head was really long, gigantic feet. Just like as big as a spike elk, I would say his body. He was
interesting.
Yeah.
So kind of a freak there.
Total freak. Yeah. His cape.
Because that's what I wondered. Like he's in velvet in late September.
Yeah. Oh yeah. Every deer in there is rubbed but him. So we wondered. There's a genetic in that area. We chased one last year that was a velvet throughout the year.
Yeah.
So there must be like a recessive doe gene that kicks out stag bucks because they're obviously not reproducing, passing on the bloodline. So they're in there.
Wow.
Pretty cool. It has really yellow velvet too.
Yeah.
You'll see the strange color.
So you go out there and you hunt and all that. Then you go on a coos deer hunt.
Mm-hmm.
Okay. And we were talking about this while we're in Zach's trophy room downstairs, which is very epic, super cool room. And I got footage for that on the video version of this podcast, so people can go and look at that. You have an impressive set of animals down there. I mean, and not just like I'll go into a room where there's a lot of taxidermy. What I like about yours is there are some animals that definitely blow your mind. That they're just massive.
Yeah, just all horn.
Yeah, but there's 2 other things that really got my attention. One is that you have bucks in there that some guys wouldn't mount.
For sure.
Right? They're
Absolutely.
just like, that's not big enough.
I get crap for that all the time.
And yet they're down there. And 2, the taxidermy work is beautiful. Like I see taxidermy work that looks like, looks cheesy. Yeah, it just looks bad.
1900s.
And what you guys are dealing with down there is just gorgeous. It's awesome.
Thanks, man.
So on that note, like with your taxidermy, why do you mount the small ones?
Well, I would beg to differ. There's even any small deer down there, honestly.
True.
There's not a deer in there that's not Pope and Young that I've killed with my bow. And my rifle buck, they're all trophies to me, I guess. I guess that's the answer. I was on that hunt, and I know that was the deer we wanted, and I got him, so I'm mounting him. You know what I mean?
Yeah.
When guys ask me what does he score, there's certain guys that I'm close with, and I'll tell them the score.
Yeah.
They know the score. They can tell the score. I just want to confirm that. But if it's just a general shotgun, hey, what's he score, dude? My response is always, he scores badass. That's what he scores. Because to me, the tape has nothing to do with the 5-year history I have with this deer.
Yeah.
I mean, you can hear my voice. I'm getting emotional about it. It's so much deeper to me than some stupid tell of the tape from some nitpicky cookie cutter classification system. The Boone and Crockett and the scoring systems are awesome. They give you a way to calibrate or give you relevance.
You can do apples to apples in a way.
Yeah, that's it. Comparisons.
Compare it.
Go for it. You kill a buck that scores 200, put a tape on him because it's awesome. But most deer don't, especially in public, general garbage units.
Yeah.
I've said this over and over again. To me, age is the trophy. I'll kill a 4, 5, 6-year-old animal. That is off the charts because he's made it through 6 years of pressure, predation. Winters are horrible up here.
Yeah.
Drought. It's dry as hell. I mean, you go up there right now, it's burning like crazy. So it's just all those things. Like, this animal is a warrior. Is he a 2x4? Yeah, he's 28-inch 2x4.
Dude.
So he doesn't score crap, but he's a badass deer.
That fork and horn downstairs that you have is one of my favorites.
30-inch.
You just go down there and it has such a unique. I always tell people like, what gets me excited is just something that gets me excited. I can't really explain it.
No, you can't.
And so
you'll know it when you see it.
Yeah, that's exactly it. And when I see what my buddy is like, dude, that deer's ugly, and I'm like, I gotta go. I gotta chase that buck. I gotta chase that buck.
The beholder, man. Whatever.
And the reverse is true. I'll be like, why do you like that buck? It's like so. I don't know, like it doesn't excite me.
Totally.
And so I think that's very fascinating just to see the people, different guys, gals get excited about different animals that they chase. With you, it's like I'll talk and interview with people who just see if it's brown, it's down. They're just out there to get meat, hunt. It's about this other experience. And then I talk to guys like you or like my Uncle Kevin at High Point Outfitters in Arizona, especially, or Jay Scott, my friends and stuff that live in like trophy type country, where there's limited tags. You wait 5 or 6 years to draw sometimes 10. When you have to do that or you live in that situation, you tend to be different in how you hunt.
Sure.
But I think that the whole trophy hunting thing, that can be divisive for us with non-hunters. But at the same time, I'd like to educate people about it a lot more, so that they look at it with a different lens. Just because it's not as black and white as they think. So you go out and you chase a coos deer, and some people look at that and they're like, "Hey, it's too small a buck." What do you think about that, Rocky?
First of all, coos deer are amazing. So if anybody's going to knock on coos deer hunting, they need to go try it first, because there's something about it. I mean, I go downstairs, and out of all of Zac's mounts, he has, 20 plus mounts down there, and I will just sit there and just stare at his coos deer for about 20, 30 minutes and just have him keep telling me the stories behind it. And, where'd you shoot this one? And you shoot them on the first, second, third day, and I just sit there and listen to it. Like, I love something about coos deer and their meat. I mean, Zac seared me up a tenderloin the other day, and it's so good. And just,
dude, her deer, when she shot him, he rolled over and clovers fell out of his mouth. He's eating clovers. Like, that animal's gonna taste good, man. I'm sorry, the fat, lazy deer eating clovers.
But yeah, we went up with his friend Garrett and Seth, and they showed us around, and just beautiful country out there in Arizona.
Now, tell me about this tag. How do you get it?
This I put in for it.
She put in for it, but it's an underprescribed. Most of the Arizona coos units are underprescribed, so she put in for it just to make sure she got a tag. But a lot of times they have what are called leftover tags, which means not enough people apply. There's an excess. Fish and Game sells them first come, first serve. I just didn't want to deal with that with her, and it's it's first come, first serve, and I didn't want her to be disappointed. So she didn't have any bonus points in Arizona, so we just threw her in the pool. She drew it, of course. And then I had really good friends down there, Garrett DeVere and Seth Dozer. Were going to help scout and, figure it out for us.
So you get that tag. So it sounds like it's
anyone can do it.
Yeah. It sounds like it's a very doable hunt.
Doable, like accessible, but killing a coos deer is, if you think you're going to go down there with your, Cabela's binoculars and just find one and shoot one, we had 4 pairs of 1556s on tripods with some of the best glassers, I dare say, in the country. They're guides in Sonora. They're coos deer, local nuts. They kill each other's deer. They help each other. They're like an army, and everyone teams in. These guys can sit behind glass for 15 hours a day and peeling apart hillsides looking for a 80-pound little mini deer that lives in the thick grassy.
So why did you like this, Rocky?
Honestly, I think, going back to just seeing Zac's coos downstairs and stuff,
pretty?
They're gorgeous.
They're dainty.
And the country down there, you're so used to just
Misery.
Utah and just, the weather and stuff down there. It's like paradise, honestly. And it's just, it's more of a challenge, I feel like. You can spot a muley, bear-eyed or a bear, lion, so be it, whatever it is. But with a coos deer, it's almost like you have to put forth more effort into it. Kind
of invisible.
Yeah, and they're beautiful. Like, they're just beautiful animals, and it's just something I wanted to do. And when I drew the tag, I was, all for it. We busted butt down there, and it was the second day, right?
14-hour drive.
Yeah, 14-hour drive of
horrible
bickering back and forth and talking about healthy food. And
I was sick as a dog, too.
Yeah. So, but yeah, honestly, if you haven't tried it, you need to try it, and you're either gonna like it or you're not. But chances are you'll fall in love with it.
That's interesting. I think I've seen Western Hunter.
Oh yeah, great production.
A few Coues deer videos that they've done. I think Chris Denham is like a Coues deer lover, like big time.
Yeah, all the AZ guys are into them.
They really do appreciate that animal, and they've tried to do films that and shows that really showcase and show that value. And then Ranella has done a few on Meat Eater, and on those shows they've really done a good job. Kind of basically he's like, this is over the counter. I just bought this tag and I came down here, and anybody can do it. And he's out in a place that's public land, and you can see for miles and miles, and he sees bucks everywhere, and he's like, anybody can do this, and there's no other hunters here. I got it to myself.
I mean, it's kind of nice because you have the whole area to yourself.
We are on the border, so even on the trail cam, we're pulling cameras. There's illegals activity all over on the camera. So you're sitting right in a hotbed of immigration, border patrol.
How many you're times talking the Mexican border?
We are, yeah. I mean, we are less than 1 mile from the border.
It rains and there's footprints. Like they're probably 10 minutes in front of us. Like
they're down there.
It's pretty crazy.
Border patrol's burning up and down the roads, running off. I mean, it's very apparent that you're in a hot spot now. With that being said, I've hunted down there for 10 years. The guys I know, there's just very few occurrences. It's not very likely.
Yeah.
So, it scares people, but believe it or not, it's not dangerous.
They're more scared of you than
they don't want any trouble either. They're just trying to do their thing, which is fine.
But I don't know what it is about Coues that people don't want to interact with it. They just,
I think it's somewhat the same like with Sitka deer,
probably,
or even Colombian blacktail. I think it's not as glorified of an animal just because of the. As sad as this might be, it's just the antler size.
Yeah, small.
Just doesn't get people's attention.
Well, and we have a lot of friends that are into, bird hunting and stuff, and we've never understood that. It's just kind of like, it's not our thing. So, I mean, we could see why people, but I mean, you have to try it. You can't knock it until you try it. It's
I just find I just like challenge, and I like new places, and I like to experience new things, and so. I've always wanted to Coues deer hunt just to have that experience. Going to Alberta, I've always wanted to go and hunt open country. Yep, bucket list. And I think it's one of those things that once I do it,
done.
I'm addicted.
And you'll appreciate it too.
Brian, you'll have a the reason you use a tripod obviously is you want a still frame, unaffected, uninhibited view of the hillside because your hands and your pulse move a lot.
Yep.
They're so small and they're so sneaky that if you're doing this, you won't pick up that ear flicker.
And that's all you're looking for.
A Choya or a Centennial plant or whatever. So when you take your hands off, you don't actually touch your glass. You just look through it like a window, and you'll see in the shade of a cedar an ear flicker, an antler twist, and that's how you end up killing them. And I'm telling you, of the 7 or 8 I've shot, 6 of them were just like that, where if I hadn't have been right there at that exact second, I would not have seen him, or I wouldn't have seen the doe that gave up his location. And that's how it works. And the scariest thing about it is you'll have him in your glass, and you'll be looking at him, and you'll talk to your friend, and you'll look back, and he's gone, and you'll be like,
that happened to us down there.
Where did he go? And they call them gray ghosts, and that's not a joke. They are ghosts. They're so small that, I mean, they're that tall. They're under 20 inches, 24 inches at the shoulder. I mean, you could think about the grass alone. They can just sneak around. You don't even see them.
That's what Brunello was saying when he shot one recently. He came up on it, and he goes, and he's just looking at it, and he goes, every time we shoot one,
I'm surprised how small
they are. When I get up on it, I'm like, this is tiny.
This is so small. She saw one in the back of a truck coming out. One of their buddies shot, and I said, can you believe that? I mean, his little feet.
Picked up the whole thing and just threw it in his truck.
Carried it out like a duffel bag.
Are they smaller than a Sitka blacktail?
Oh, yeah, because they don't have the bone structure. They don't have the fat.
Yeah.
They're, I mean, a big buck, I would say 110, 120. Wow.
Yeah, because we shot a bunch of mule deer and Sitka deer in POW, and I was shocked how small these deer were. And I just took the whole deer and just threw it over my shoulders and carried it like a mile up the mountain.
They're very comparable. In fact, what I find unique about Sitka blacktails, and I've never killed one, but I'm fascinated by them is they're very beautiful as well.
Yeah.
Their colors.
I'm addicted to
dainty.
like Sitka blacktail and the features, the double throat patch, the coloring, the
bright
dark orange, the
cheeks,
chocolate horns. Very much like hunting blacktails at home, Colombian blacktails. You know, what I like about Colombian blacktails are not necessarily, it's not the size of the antlers, it's just they're beautiful deer to me, like beautiful. Yeah, when you look at those coos downstairs, they stand out with the coloring and the hide.
Their
and the
eyelashes are like this long.
Yeah, it's a beautiful, beautiful animal, and but their behavior is what fascinates me. To try to chase one.
Everything on earth can kill a coos deer, including bobcats. They the poor little suckers. They just get messless.
They have no chance.
You ought to see them drink. I mean, they're like
so paranoid.
I mean, I just feel sorry for them. I was like, your life sucks, bro. Like you are at the bottom of the food chain. You're at the bottom rung.
Like a bird can swoop up and grab you.
It happened. If you see a coos fawn, you will not believe it. I've seen one bedded that the mom left. I saw a cat.
I've seen.
Like this.
Yeah, I've seen Sitka.
Looks like a football.
On POW, Prince of Wales Island. I've seen little Sitka bucks or deer that are born tiny. Like that day, like that hour, and I'm like, you are
poor little bugger.
You are food.
Yeah,
like that's all you are for
your
a
life
while.
Is uphill, buddy.
Yeah, when I see these, the Sitka blacktail when we're up on, they do though seem like they have thicker bones and they carry more fat, and so. But still really small. But we walked away with on a forked horn buck with eye guards, you know, an average, you know, kind of, I don't know how old it was, but a medium age buck. You know, he had some growth still, but still big deer. We walked away with 25 pounds of meat after we deboned it and stuff. And we took a lot. I mean, we cut all we could off of that.
Yeah, you're conservative.
And you ended up with like 25 pounds. I'm like, where the heck? This is a tiny, and sometimes, we shot some bigger bucks, and I think we came off 40 pounds on one of them, 35, 40 pounds of meat. That's a big, big bodied blacktail. So, Sitka, these coos deer being like that, I mean, how much meat do you get off of that?
About the same.
30 pounds?
Yeah, 30 or 40.
It's not that much.
You could shoot them with like really small caliber, just turbo rifles. They're long range. That's one of the other things that's fun. Is they're pokes. Coos deer, that's the long range.
Yeah,
that's the top tier because you're shooting a coyote basically.
Yeah.
So you'll see guys with the most decked out rigs you've ever seen.
That's interesting. You know what surprised me? So they, I think they're a little smaller than you realize. Like a Sitka buck, when you walk up on it, you're like. It's got a bunch of antlers. It's got
it's tough to give it proportion until you see it.
But then you see it on the ground, you're like, and then when you take the hide off of it and you get down just to the skeleton and the meat, you're like, these are little animals.
Yeah, they're tiny.
I shot that wolf in Idaho with my bow this year. I got the fur off of that thing. It's like a little tiny greyhound. Like I don't know, like those little wisp dogs. And I was like, there's no meat on this. How did they kill? But then the head is huge, and the teeth are huge, and the jaw muscles are huge, and the feet are massive. I'm like, they're all feet and head. Like, these wolves are all feet and head.
They've adapted to be feet and head. Low maintenance body, killing machine,
completely
mobility. It makes perfect sense.
And all that fur that keeps them warm and cozy.
Well, it protects them too.
Mm-hmm.
I mean, it's that little wimpy, dainty body. It has to have a big furry shield over it.
It was really interesting to put your hands on a wolf and to do all that, which is a whole nother podcast discussion. But still, getting on an animal, and then taking it apart and breaking it down,
whole new perspective.
It does. It gives you a whole new perspective. This Alberta mule deer, I got on that, and same with Aaron's, and broke it down, and I'm like, dude, we're cutting up an elk.
Yeah.
I mean, again, it's like the reverse is true.
It looked like a butterball. Man.
They're just ridiculous. The fat on the rump was like 2.5 inches thick. I've never done an elk that had that much fat on it. These bucks were so awesome.
Yeah.
So now I'm addicted to mule deer hunting. I'm trying to figure out where I'm going to go do that next, with a bow, because it's ridiculous. So speaking of that, I want to circle back to the coos, but Well, let's stick with the coos, but then later I want to get on Zac. Just your mule deer addiction, why, how, and then how you hunt mule deer, how you kill and are successful with big bucks, older, mature bucks, and what the difference is between hunting these bucks down here versus, your younger bucks. Because sometimes I feel like mule deer are some of the easiest animals in the world to kill because I've seen them just stand there and look at me at times. But those are not like the big ones. Yeah. So, but back on the coos thing. So, how does this coos hunt unfold?
So we spotted, let's see, the second morning, right? Second morning. It's kind of, a mile away. And going back to where Zac said we glassed him up. We got set up. It was the 800-yard shot.
Dang, Rocky.
Yeah. But I was willing to take it.
Well, she would have hit him. She can shoot really well. And we have a turret, and it's not like we're doing holdover. We've calculated windage and elevation, and all that's accounted for. We had the turrets dialed in. She's ready.
Well,
but what Zac was going earlier, how you said, with coos deer, once you sight them in or you're on them, if you take your eyes off of them, they could be gone like that, and that's actually what happened in that situation. So. We ended up having to wait wait until the sun goes down. We ended up going on the other side, the ridge where he fed over, and we just kind of waited him out. And sure enough, he popped up, and our friend Garrett spotted him, and we got set up, and he ended up being 413 yards. And Zac, he's like, I gotta get it on film. And he sat there for 15 minutes, I swear, is what it felt like.
I lost a screw in my I have that Manfrotto 500.
It was like go time for me. So it took everything I had to not pull that trigger. I mean, I'm following him around while he's feeding.
Yeah, so it was panning sideways all by itself. I'd take my hand off in the phone scope.
Yep. I've lost those screws like 3 times.
I hate it.
Oh.
Garrett found it, by the way. In his truck. So we swapped tripods out. So I'm literally popping off my spotter, new tripod.
And Rocky,
he's helping her.
You're melting down?
She's just down there prone.
I'm just like, anytime, Zac, anytime.
When Hollywood's ready.
It's just so tempting. Anyways, so he's like, okay, I'm ready. Right when he said that, man, I just let loose and shot him. But it was, he went down at 413 yards and...
What rifle are you shooting?
Got it all on film. It's a Savage 243, and then we have a Vortex scope.
It's actually it's a Zeiss Conquest, big turret.
It is Zeiss,
20 on it. But my dad built her bullets, shooting 100 grain. I believe she's shooting Accubons, and then just hand loaded. She's been shooting it like crazy.
Yeah.
She dialed for 4 minutes and center punched his butt.
Nice job.
Again, talk about intense, man. I'm sitting back.
You weren't freaking out as bad as my muley.
Plugging because your coos deer wasn't as big as your muley. It wasn't as close, and it wasn't a muzzleloader. I know I can jack another shell in a rifle quick, but a muzzleloader is just.
Let me ask you this: clearly you have a mule deer addiction, but you've shot some nice coos too. Which one do you like better?
They're just different. I mean, muleys, because they're more abundant, I can get to them. I hunt mule deer literally 150 days a year because I can hunt them locally.
Yeah.
Before work, after work, before the gym, after the gym. I mean, I can get up there and back in 2 hours. So muleys are my bread and butter. I grew up hunting them. I'm fascinated by them. You go downstairs, you got 10 muley mounts and the other stuff, not even close. It's just all mule deer. So, but coos deer are just as fun and just as rewarding. They're just not as accessible, so it's only once a year as opposed to 100 days a year, if that makes sense.
Yeah, no, it makes sense. So, Rocky, when you shoot a coos deer and you walked up on it, what'd you think?
My first reaction was, did I just shoot a doe? Like, it's small. I was like, it's okay to shoot this one, right? I was just stoked, just again soaking in the moment.
And this hunt was, you would say, more fun than the other one? Honestly?
I'd say, yeah. I would say it was more fun. And it could be just because it's completely different. Mm-hmm. I don't think it's as rewarding as my other hunt because I put a lot more time and effort into my muley hunt. Yeah. Scouting and whatnot. But this one was just more, if you watch the video, I passed up on one that was in velvet, and I could have shot that the first day. But again, like, I'd rather go home empty-handed than shoot something on the first day when I still had 3 days to hunt. Like, it's all about the experience and just soaking in, you know, the time that you have up there and with the friends and just being out there in the mountains and stuff. Like, I was telling Zac on that first one we passed up, you know, it's like, man, if I shoot that one right now, my hunt's over. Like, you know. Yeah. And again, it's like I still have 3 more days. So, but it was in velvet, which would have been pretty cool to get one.
Velvet coups are pretty rare.
Yeah.
Not many people have them.
But I didn't want my hunt to be over with, so I just kept at it. And sure enough, you know, I found a bigger one, and it had a drop time, and you can't pass up that. So.
Oh yeah.
We didn't even know that till I pulled him out of the bushes. I just could not freaking believe it.
It just gets cooler.
You can't pay for drop tines. They're just the most badass horned. It's the antler characteristic that I want more than anything is a dropper. Yeah. And I've got a muley with drop tines, and she shot a Cougar with a dropper, and
They're just so uncommon. That's
so cool.
What makes them really neat.
So cool.
I don't know why.
That's the thing about Coues deer. They're small, they're compact, but the character, man, they just pack in so much. Like, gnarly little bases, and they're full of choyas, and they're just they're trolls, man. I love Coues deer. They're so awesome.
That's neat. That's a hunt I need to try. For sure. Have you done them with a bow, Zac?
Oh yeah, tons.
And what's your thoughts on that?
I mean, you can kill one in velvet with water. The problem with Arizona is the seasons are really early down there, so they're not grown out, believe it or not. You're actually hunting deer that are still bulbed. Very bold.
Right, yeah.
You kill a Coues deer that doesn't even have a mainframe yet because of the season dates. So I've never really wanted to kill one in archery unless I could get a bigger one, which, you know, you could sit water. There's a lot of ways to do it that way. But during the rut in January, they rut very late. They are the most aggressive little suckers you've ever seen. So you got a dozen arrows and you got time, you can go chase them and find them and see deer that you would not believe down there. They're just tough to kill.
Really?
They're finicky and they're wired, and you know the bucks are preoccupied, but the does aren't. So the does see you. And remember, you're shooting at a grapefruit. I mean, their kill spot. They're small, so they're tough. I've never killed them with my bow.
But that's our plan next year is to go back with our bows.
That's our plan. I'm going back in October with my rifle.
I already shot one with my rifle, so I'll take my bow.
I've got 7 with my rifle. I want more. They're a gun deer to me. I'll kill one with my bow one day, but it won't. I love long.
Well, I've seen a lot of them shot with a, shot out of a ground blind or something.
Sure.
Yeah.
But to me,
spot and stock can be done.
I kind of like if it comes down to a ground blind. This is just me, some warped reason. I have no idea why. But if I'm going to do it with a ground blind with a bow, I kind of would rather just walk and stalk with a rifle.
Yeah. Sure.
You know, like at that point.
Yeah.
But
to me, there's tons of opinions on it. I'll tell you one thing about ambush hunting, and ground blinds included, tree stands. You know, a lot of guys knock it. I never got the Eastern whitetail mentality because I'm ignorant.
Well, I'll tell you. I mean, I absolutely love tree stand hunting.
But see, that's the thing with me with ground blinds. I've used them to kill stuff, and nothing. I mean, spot and stalk is exciting, but when you are limited to a small field of view and you hear a twig snap, and you know he's coming in. I mean, even though it's lazy hunting, I understand you're just sitting there eating out of your cooler or whatever, but it's fun.
Well, but I do think that it takes you got to pattern. You got to decide where you're going to be.
Oh, strategy,
all kinds of stuff. People kind of put ambush hunting into this other category, discount it. But
works.
I just feel like part of what I love about tree stand hunting is being up high and seeing and all this stuff. Ground blinds, I feel like I'm trapped.
It's horrible.
I just don't. I'm not that excited about it. Now, that doesn't mean I wouldn't like sit in one in Saskatchewan so I don't freeze to death and shoot a gigantic whitetail.
Yeah.
But you know, I guess for Coues deer though in the desert, the idea of sitting inside a hot ground blind all day long.
And the country's beautiful. You got to get out and explore it.
I'd rather sneak around.
I've hunted rutting Coues deer probably 100 days, 200 days in my life, and they're fasting. They're tough to kill. They're tough to chase. So spot and stalk is that's what we need to go do it. Just go down during the rut. But it's over the counter. I mean,
that's a cool thing.
You can go pretty much anywhere in Arizona. Southern Arizona.
So Rocky, you go and it's your first year harvesting, shooting 2 animals. You shoot a flat out once in a lifetime mule deer buck, and you shoot a spectacular Coues deer. How does it feel? I mean, this is
honestly it's rewarding because I don't think a lot of people know. They probably just think, oh, she went out, a week before the hunt. Her father-in-law found the buck, and she got lucky, came down, shot him. But honestly, I've put in so much work into hunting, not even having a tag, just following his butt around,
right?
And in hopes of him getting something. Every day or every time he goes scouting and hunting, gets up at 3 a.m., I'm right there with him. So even though I don't have a tag, I put in just as much work and effort as he has.
And it is work, dude. Getting up that early, staying out till late.
And I used to not be a morning person. Now I am, just because we go so much. But honestly, like I said, it's rewarding just to all the hard work and effort that you've put into it, and the patience and being persistent and stuff. It puts a smile on your face. There's nothing I've done that makes me so excited and just to live for hunting. It's a whole new experience it's an experience that I've never done before, but it's all I can say is it's rewarding. Just everything you've done.
How do you feel, Zac, about Rocky after this season?
I'm proud of her. She's just a tough chick. She doesn't need motivation. She doesn't need me to pull her out of bed in the morning. She's just there. She's got a good attitude. She's a dude. I mean,
no, I'm
she
not.
just loves to hunt.
I'm not a dude.
She's my hunting buddy. It's I can give her some glass in the tripod, say, you cover that base and I'll cover this one. She'll just go over and handle business. So she's just been low maintenance. And the last thing I wanted was a wife that was whiny and wanted all the attention. And so she's just my partner.
You've never forced me into this.
No.
It's something that I enjoy just as much as you do. So it's not.
And when we were dating, she knew. I mean, we dated during last season, so she got to see what a hunting season is like in my life. And so I think she knew what she was getting into. So, I mean, luckily she accepted it, and that was fine with her. So there was no tricks or anything pulled. But no, I'm just really proud of her, and I'm grateful that the stars aligned because, she deserved to kill a deer. But guys like me and you, I think I deserve to kill a deer too all the time, but I don't. And I've killed enough deer that I know that it'll come eventually, but she hadn't tasted that fruit. So I felt sorry for her. I'm not going to lie, man. I was like, she just doesn't. She's never seen it happen. When she sees it happen, she sees that bow hunting sucks, but it's worth it. She just needs to see it happen. Well, it happened in spades. It just came through like an avalanche. So I guarantee you next year, even if she doesn't kill a thing, she's going to be motivated as hell because she knows tomorrow could be that day where it just falls in your lap, and that's just how it works.
What I noticed, we're downstairs, we're hanging out, we're looking at the mounts, and we're in the room, and Rocky, you are geeking out over antlers and the
awesome.
mount. You should move this mount here.
It's so fun.
This
to
is
share.
here. This is, and it's seriously a guy buddy of yours.
That's why I
down
call
there.
her dude. No disrespect,
But
she's
it's
just
not
my buddy. She's my bud.
The thing is you actually are. People can't fake that. This is some genuine appreciation for hunting. What Zac is into, you're into. It's not this fake thing, which is refreshing too. Because there's a lot of women I see get into hunting, and I'm not judging. If they want to go and they do it because they want to be with their spouse or they're doing it for reasons, a lot of different reasons that may not be because they enjoy it. It's for other reasons. I'm not judging that as a negative reason, but I find it really cool when the reason is more altruistic. It's more because you genuinely have a passion for it, and whether Zac goes or not, you have your own desire for it. It's a neat thing to see, I think.
No, for sure. If Zac wasn't into it as much as he, is right now, I still think that because he's kind of opened that gateway to see like what hunting is all about. Like I know for sure I'd be out there on my own doing what I'm doing now. So, you know, I'm grateful for him to actually show me what hunting is about and to actually get out there and experience it all.
As someone that's got relatively new, you know, as far as success goes, you know, harvesting animals and stuff, how does it, I mean, what are your thoughts on hunting in general? Like,
it's badass. I love it. It's awesome. I don't know.
What is it about hunting that you think what draws you to it? What is it about hunting that makes you go, I want to keep doing this? Honestly, because it can't be the 3 a.m.s, man. No, it just can't be.
But, well, honestly, though, I think a lot of it is all the effort you put into it and the reward you get at the end. Like, I feel like it is the 3 a.m.s for me, though, like getting up and just, you know, hiking 5 miles up a vertical mountain and just to scout a deer. And then, you know, 2 months later, it's the opening morning and you actually get to put, you know, your hands on your gun and take a shot at them. Like, it's just, it is that. It's the build-up for me. And being with him, like, is just icing on the cake. Like, just having your best friend with you by your side and, you know, enjoying it together, whether we kill a deer or not. Like, it's just everything that comes following up to actually hunt the deer. Like, it's just everything that builds up behind it. So
that's cool.
Hunting's awesome. Like, it's
So when you guys talk about being together, there's a lot of couples who try to hunt together and realize that they can't, or that are kind of wanting to, but don't. What's this sort of secret for making this thing work?
I know.
What is it, dude?
You can only have one tag at a time. Don't ever do a hunt together when you're both hunting. No, I'm serious. Because I'm selfish.
I am too. We're both
I just
stubborn.
Get her and say, I'm going up on top. You stay in the trail. Watch this water or whatever. If I can focus on her and take myself out of it and my ideas and actually let her make the calls, like, where are we going? Do you want to go to the rocks? Do you want to go to the top?
It's her tag.
It's exactly.
Yeah.
It takes all the heat off of me, and it's way more fun. And honestly, man, like, I hate to say it, but I'm kind of worn out sometimes from hunting, and I like watching her get excited because it's like, oh, that's right. That's why I used to hunt before I got all caught up in bigger. It's like, you know, even though she's a badass and has killed some pigs, she still like gets excited about any deer. Or I found one. I mean, when she spotted a coos deer, and I got the goosebumps. I was like, oh my gosh, did we see a baby? He's a buck? I don't think so. And I look at her glass, and there he is sitting there. I was like, oh, she found a coos. It was like 700 yards, tough spot.
Nice.
So it was cool.
Yeah.
I mean, it's like she's like my pupil, but it's not like that. It's nothing condescending. I've taught her a lot, but she's taken it and ran with it. You know what I mean? She's
open the door.
Opened the door. She walked right through, ran through it.
Yeah.
So she's picked it up, and she's got a big Exo mountain pack on, and she's all First Light geared out. She's got the gaiters on, and I watch her lay her gear out at night. I just love it. It's just fun to. I can see that she's visualizing. I can see that she's relishing it all, and it's actually osmotically coming back to me. You know, it's like, oh, I'm absorbing it again because I needed that refresher. Especially with last year, you know, we joke about it, but the social media crap about me not killing anything, like, as much as I can brush it off, I got tired of explaining myself. You know, I was like, the hell with this whole thing, man. I'm just gonna go hunt.
Just go hunt.
Now, but this year, I mean, it's back to, oh, that's right, why I do it. That's, you know, that hashtag's annoying. I know it's redundant, but it's why I do it. We're smiling. We're here right now as buddies. This is what we have in common. I wouldn't know you if we weren't hunters. Yeah. You know? And that's what I love about it. We got to have, life is full of challenges and difficulties, and this is our icing, you know?
So, Rocky, how has hunting, like, changed your relationship for better or worse? How has it impacted the relationship, the closeness, or the I don't know, just the relationship?
With Zac and I? Mm-hmm. Honestly, it's like a good foundation to our relationship. You have a lot of couples that, you know, she likes to go watch Broadways or plays, and he likes to go hunting, or, you know. So I feel like hunting kind of brings us together. It's something we can look forward to. You know, we get on Google Earth, or we got our maps out, and it's like an adrenaline rush for us.
What were we watching when you came over here?
Our Friday night, Zach comes home from work and I'm watching Meat Eater and he's like, oh, you can't watch this episode without me. Like, that's just us. Honestly, if anything, it's helped strengthen our relationship and our marriage. And again, if you love something together and enjoy doing it, like, it's awesome.
What do you think is the mistakes that some couples make?
Like Zach was saying, I think we went somewhere and we had 2 tags.
Oh, just hunting the extended archery last year.
Yeah, extended archery, or even
I had a 200 to 210 inch buck that I would see 3 days a week up in 11,000 foot basin, and it's an hour and a half straight up, and I would drop her off about 35 minutes into the hike on a little. I've been baiting for and
keep in mind this is like my first year of actual archery hunting.
Just sit behind her and talking her through scenarios and letting her know that the twig snap's not anything dangerous. Just kind of like, just cultivating her understanding of the experience. I just said, I got a 210 buck. I'm going to go kill him. So you want to come? You're going to sit down here, or come with me. And I don't know if she could make that hike, but it was a nasty sucker. So I would just ditch her.
And he would say, they're most likely going to come in here because there was like a little water hole, steep, whatnot. But that, honestly, it caused a lot of arguments because I'm sitting down there freezing my butt off with no reception, and I don't know, I hear a big muley coming in, but I don't have 2 sets of eyes, and I kind of need help of when to knock my arrow or not because, again, this is my first year.
Hunting's tricky, man. And I took it for granted, but I knew she'd learn. She's very independent. I wasn't worried about. It was more just
Zach had his mindset on this huge muley, and that was about it. So
he just forgot about you.
See you later, Rocky. And then 2 or 3 hours later, he comes down the hill. Yeah, I saw my glasses. It doesn't ask one thing about me, like if I've seen anything come in or whatnot. So we kind of learned from that we need to focus on one person at a time,
and that's been a big
game changer for sure.
But how do you feel about giving up your times, Zach, behind the bow?
It's not at all like like
once you did it, you realized
the deer she killed a buck. It's my buck too. Like, he's gonna go.
No, it's not.
I'm gonna be able to stare at him whenever I want. Her coos deer is right next to mine. Like, I feel like this is a co-op.
Yeah.
We're sharing. Everything's equally divided amongst the masses. So
we'll have a his/her man cave.
Yeah. Okay.
Nice. Yeah, I often wonder, and this comes up a lot with couples that are like, my wife doesn't like hunting. Whenever I leave for a few days, she's upset, and stuff like that. And or my wife wanted to go hunting, and then I took her, and she won't go back again. She hated it, and so I always wonder. I always want to ask couples how they make it work.
That's our 2 cents. Just focus on one at a time.
What about it being tough? Like sometimes the introduction for the first time, they drag their girlfriend to the top of a mountain that she's cold and wet and miserable, and then she comes home and she's like, "This is what you do."
Not
for
a
fun?
good experience at all for her.
So I think once you get them addicted, then it's like they're willing to endure the misery.
And it's relative too, because she's a tougher. I'm just saying she's tougher than most of the girls that I've met.
Yeah.
I don't think I needed to wean her along as much. I think other guys maybe need more sensitive.
You just chucked her in the water and she could swim.
What's she going to want to do? Yeah, just I want this to be fun for her. So that was actually part of my year. This year was getting her this coos tag, getting her rifle tags, muzzleloader tags, stuff. Archery is just tough. So especially when you're limited with your range, she's shooting a lighter poundage bow. So that was part of my off-season goal was like, I got to get her an antelope tag. I need to get her a coos deer rifle tag. Just get stuff on the ground. And I knew with the muzzleloader, especially, nowadays those inlines are so accurate and you can shoot so far. I knew we'd kill a deer at the muzzleloader. So that was the number one priority. And luckily with the muzzleloader, I didn't have a tag. So it was all about her. It worked out. So.
Well, Rocky, I'll ask you a question, and then I'll ask Zach the same question just to get his opinion on it. So here you are, you're learning some stuff. You've hung out with Zach now and gone on these hunts, and now you're Rocky, who's been successful. What is that recipe for success in hunting up a big mule deer? What is it that you think guys maybe and gals are missing out on or aren't doing in order to be successful?
I think a lot, well, I would just say putting in the time and effort. I mean, it's not going to be handed to you. So if you want it that bad, then you need to get out there and, scout 3-4 times a week, 3-4 months prior to the hunt. We're going shed hunting. We're finding sheds of the actual muleys that we're after. And I just think in order to be successful, like, you have to put in the time and effort. You have to be determined, I feel like jumping into it with archery, my mentality, I mean, it was, I didn't have any of that. I didn't have the patience. I was planning on him killing something, and it never happened. Then when he did go to Wyoming and shot that muley, like, I wasn't there. So the first year I definitely learned that you have to put, in order to be rewarded, like, you just have to put in a lot of time.
Makes sense.
And that's, if you're killing big muleys or not, like, as long as you're giving it 100%, like, it's rewarding in the end for whatever it is, that you kill. So,
Zac, what is it that people need to do?
I've said it before no inhibition whatsoever. I'm not a very good hunter. I'm a spaz. I lose my marbles when I get in those situations. I lose all my fundamentals.
You get to watch this?
All my muscle
Does Rocky
memory.
sort of like bring you back now?
She made it worse. She made it worse because when you're by yourself, you're not worried about like someone seeing you.
Yeah.
Like not being able to clip your release on your freaking string. But when your wife sees that you're not clipping your release on your string and she looks at you and she goes,
and I'll let him know.
What is your problem? Are you kidding me? Do you need me to clip your release? And now I'm like, shut up, leave me alone. And we're like arguing and this buck's coming up the trail. I lose my cool. So what I can tell you from my experience is the harder I work, the luckier I get. And I'm telling you, every time I have ever killed a deer with the bow, it was a freaking fluke. Every single time. It never worked out like I thought it would. Even this year, my buck, the big, best scoring deer I've ever killed in my life with a bow, 31 yards, Brian. Freaking airball the first shot. My cam hit.
I think I had a lot to do with that, though.
My cam hit the tree branch above me. I was shooting straight off a cliff, and I checked my hand, I checked my feet, and I didn't look up. And my cam on the whop, it came up, threw the arrow straight into the dirt. 31 yards. 31 yard shot. That's what I'm saying. Amateur hour, right? I mean, it's just my follow up shot was way further.
Yeah.
So,
dude, I couldn't pull my bow back.
That's what I'm saying.
My arrow goes click.
That's
and
the reality of bow hunting.
Falls on the bow.
For every time that you kill your buck like you just did, there was 200 times like that where you screwed up because you couldn't pull your 80 pounds on your back. And that's what I've learned is you're just going to mess up. You're going to blow it, but you got to be tenacious as hell. You got to get back in there.
Well, and
the deer will slip up, dude. They will make a mistake. I mean, I've shot deer that I literally was like her deer. He's supposed to die today. Like, I could have walked over and tipped him over. He just was not.
He just wouldn't leave.
Today was his day.
Yeah.
And every deer I've ever killed worked out like that. So, and the other thing is too, is I'm aggressive, man. The guys that are passive bow hunters that sit back and like, well, we'll come in tomorrow. Like, tomorrow? And it's funny. Eric Chesser actually, we hunted a couple times up here, and he's more aggressive than me. Mm-hmm. I was actually surprised because I was like, we're going to wait that deer out. He'll come out of the pines. And Eric's like, I'm going right after him. I'm like, you got a bow, bro? Or you can shoot 300 yards with your bow? He's like, no, I got an idea. So it's all about, finding your balance. But for me, it's just 3-4 days a week, be in shape, don't quit,
practicing.
Take it personally. Shoot your bow like crazy.
Yeah, I mean, we're shooting our bows almost every night downstairs or
we shoot
in the backyard.
But that's the key. Just don't quit because you won't believe it can happen until it does. Mm-hmm. And that one time, all my bow hunting mentors all said the same thing. When you kill your first buck with your bow, it's just going to be, it's exponential because your confidence is there. Yeah. Now you're like, oh, I can do this. And every deer they're all equally as easy to kill.
Yep.
It's just a matter of just putting it in. And I think that's where most guys fall short. The guys don't have a plan. They're not consistent. They don't stick to an area. They don't stick to a deer. That's where scouting comes in. We how many different hikes have we gone on to find our bucks? Once we find our buck, then we watch him for 3 months. We set up trail cameras. I'll put salt and bait just to get close-ups of his horns. I want to watch him grow and develop because I'm fascinated by him. So I know that deer, everything about him, where he lives, where he sleeps, where he doesn't. So every time I go in there, I've got an idea of where he's going to be. For guys that just go hunting and go hiking and just look around, they don't really deserve to kill a big trophy because big trophies don't come that way. That's not how you get them. The guys that are methodical, we're stalking these deer like psychos, you know, like literally, like we eat, sleep, and drink about that deer. They're the ones that connect, and it takes that. You have to be committed to one animal, to one area, and you have to be in there every day until he slips up. It took us 9 days to kill my buck on a trail that during the summer, every single day he was on it. Then, of course, the night of the opener, the freaking lion shows up in our basin and starts chasing deer everywhere. They disappeared.
Yeah.
A week later, it was one of those days. We didn't even take our gear with us. My backpack was like empty because I'm like, dude, let's go up there one time and let's go take a couple days off. And we shot him. Yeah. It's just, you got to go in there because the harder you work, the luckier you get. It just will happen. It falls in your lap, Brian. You just have to be there.
Yeah. If you're not there, you can't make that happen. So tell me, about RocZac. You know, you guys are out there together now, and where would you like to see? I love following your Instagram. I was talking to you earlier. I like your posts, you know, and I always get to see big mule deer if I follow your page. And now, Rocky, you've got a page on Instagram, and I can follow you, and I love just following along. And I always know you guys are gonna, you know, post something with some big deer, you know, so it's pretty cool. And I like, I've said this before, Zac, I like your uniqueness, you know, your artistic slant that you put on all your stuff, which some people don't, and
sure,
that's okay.
That's fine.
Sort of like my gritty stuff. It's me. And that's okay. But I just kind of always want more, you know? And so you've got some films up with Rocky I haven't seen. I'm going to go watch those. Where would you like to see this thing go over the next year or two?
Well, I did the Zac Griffith show for 4 years, and it was unfulfilling. You know, I got kind of tired of it. Like I said last year, I was going to throw in the towel. Like, this is just stupid. I'm trying to impress a bunch of guys that don't like me anyways. Then I met her, and we're sharing it together. Our YouTube channel, we've made like 40 episodes. Like, and I mean, we've done, you know, couples back popping episodes. We've done, she scares the living hell out of me. She'll hide in the closet, set up cameras. Here comes my stupid husband. Watch this. And they're great. So the RocZac channel is like our life. It's like our family, our kids.
It's something we can look back on and show
it's
our
funny,
kids.
But we're mingling in with hunting now because this time in our lives is hunting season. Right. So the RocZac channel will go from the spring and winter time and Christmas holidays and all that crap, and then now it's hunting season.
Now it's hardcore.
It's just our life. And I've said it before, like, I would love to be a big YouTuber and be a partner and be getting revenue and monetizing and stuff. But it's so badass to just have all these videos just to go watch.
Well, when I started Gritty Bowmen in the podcast, we were talking about it with my wife, and I was like, hey, at the end of the day, if nobody else watches it, I have this whole archive of
your life,
of my life with people I really enjoyed, and my kids get to see sort of
video's priceless.
Their dad,
it's priceless, and YouTube it's there forever. Take it or leave it. Me and her can watch it on our phones.
Yep.
At the airport.
Well,
our wedding, whatever.
I'm encouraging everyone to share as much as they can, as much as they feel comfortable with, because we're like a little army of, you know, every hunter has a potential to represent hunting in a certain way and represent, you know, be an advocate for this way of life and eating healthy. You guys really focus on fitness and really focus on, you know, health and physique and all of that. And this is a place where you get to share that, and hunting is just a part of that package.
All fits in.
Yeah, I have a film I've been working on for a long time, but basically in that film I make this comment, like, when I started to do Gritty Bowmen, we decided right at the start that hunting was just a part of our lives. It wasn't our life. It was one part of it. It was a big part of it. But I don't separate my life from hunting. They're intertwined.
Absolutely.
And
seamlessly.
So I end up sharing my life at the same time as I share hunting. They're just sort of the same. And I think that is real, and it connects with people. I could have like this whole hunting only life and not really share too much of my own, but it's just not me.
Reality. You know, you have your hobbies, and then you have your family on the side, and it's you. That's who you are. So it's nice to share that with everyone. And you have some people that, you know, they're not going to watch it because you do like the hunting side of it, but you have others that enjoy both parts of it. So we're just, you know, we're real. We are who we are. So if you don't like us, it's not a big deal to us. Because again, like we have it, we can go home and sit and with a tub of popcorn or a tub of carrots for Zac, and we can just, you know, watch RocZac and hang out. But
she's got you nailed, dude.
She does.
He looks good though. So
we'll go to dinner, and the waiter will bring out the burrito grande and then the ahi salad, and they'll hand her the salad. She'll be like, "It's for the lightweight." She'll just wolf down the burrito and I'm over there picking at my salad. It's funny.
That's so cool, guys. Well, thank you for coming on the podcast. I love it every time.
We're so stoked, man.
It was cool to come down and see you hang out. I especially enjoyed the gym. I enjoyed the trophy room. And I wanted to meet you, Rocky, and see the other side of this Griffith group here, this Griffith duo. So anyway, thanks for having me, and stay gritty.
Well, thank
you. Too, buddy. Thanks.
Awesome, man.
In 1907, only 41,000 elk remained in North America, and in 1950, only 12,000 pronghorn remained. Today, there are more than 1 million elk and 1.1 million pronghorn. Why? Because hunting is conservation. In 1937, hunters actually requested an 11% tax on guns, ammo, bows, and arrows to help fund conservation. That tax so far raised more than $8 billion for wildlife conservation. Altogether, hunters pay more than $1.6 billion a year for conservation programs. No one gives more. It's obvious that hunters care about animals, and yet we actively hunt and kill them. Many people cannot understand this dichotomy. How can we both care about animals and also kill them? It's a question that I challenge all of you to consider. Here is an excerpt from the Gritty Bowmen film, Alberta, with a quote from Fred Bear that describes my feelings on this subject. The first shot on this buck was fatal, and it cleanly pierced his vitals, but he didn't go down. I hate to see animals suffer, and when possible, I will always shoot them again if I have the opportunity. I have tremendous respect for this buck and his will to survive. He didn't go down easy, and I have mixed emotions about that. At times like this, I am reminded of a quote by Fred Bear, which somewhat describes my thoughts on this matter. Quote, I have always tempered my killing with respect for the game pursued. I see the animal not only as a target, but as a living creature with more freedom than I will ever have. I take that life if I can, with regret as well as joy, and with the sure knowledge that nature's way of fang and claw and starvation are a far crueler fate than I bestow. I do not hunt for the joy of killing, but for the joy of living, and the inexpressible pleasure of mingling my life, however briefly, with that of a wild creature that I respect, admire, and value. We can argue as much as we like, but the fact is, hunting is man's oldest and most successful try at life. Every human being is alive today because our ancestors hunted. So it's a relatively new phenomenon for people to regard hunting as a cruel and frivolous activity that has no worth outside of personal gratification for the hunter. The funny thing is, hunting has increased my appreciation for wild animals and wild places, not decreased it. And as I watch society lose its ties to wildlife and conservation, I feel my bond with nature grow ever stronger in direct correlation to my time spent hunting. I understand now more than ever that hunting is the greatest hope for creating the next generation of true conservationists. Never stop sharing your passion for hunting in the outdoors. Our wild animals and wild places depend on it. We thank Kifaru, Mountain Ops, Hoyt, Vortex, Phelps Game Calls, Black Eagle Arrows, and Crispy Boots for supporting the Gritty Bowmen. We love these companies and the people behind them. They truly make fantastic products. Please support them however you can. As always, good luck on your hunts and stay gritty.
This is Ty Stubblefield, and you're listening to the Gritty Bowmen.
Gritty Bowmen.